Hi, today we're going to be making what I call red chili. I don't know if there's another name for it, but that's what we call it, is red chili. The reason why it's called red chili is because we're actually using red chili. The red chili that I get is a powder. It's you can get it down the Mexican food lane in any store. Well, most any store. It's called Fernandez. Or is it Hernandez, Mom? Fernandez or Hernandez? Fernandez. Fernandez. And I get the rojo, which means red in Spanish. It's the best for this kind of a... Well, I like it for everything, actually. I like it for enchiladas, for red chili, for whatever you decide to use it for. But what I did here is I cooked up 2 pounds of hamburger. I strained it and crumbled it up. And I cut about 8 to 10 potatoes. And I cubed them kind of small. Because that way, if you make them too big... This is kind of bite size, I call. Make them too big, they take longer to cook. So when you got potatoes that you've just done, you want to go ahead and rinse those and get all the starch, extra starch off of them. And then you can go ahead and shake that off a little bit. Throw it right into your hamburger. I'll put this here for a minute. Go ahead and mix it up. And I'm going to add some water to it. Let's see, I'll go ahead and measure out the water. I normally don't. I'm going to use a cup. This is exactly 2 cups. So I'm going to add probably 6 to 8 cups. So this is 2 cups. 4. And of course I like to do everything in the sink, you know that. I don't like messes all over the house. That's 4, 6, and you want enough water to cover the top of everything. You don't want too much water. So I'm going to go 7 cups instead of 8. That's just right. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get this to boiling. And the reason why I'm boiling it ahead of time is because I want these potatoes to get soft. And so that way, when you put your gravy in there finally, it doesn't boil as well because it's too thick with the gravy. So you want to cook it when it's still kind of watery. So let me go ahead and put my seasonings in there real quick. Show you what that looks like. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get... James, you want to hand me a tablespoon? So I can show them by tablespoon size. One of the big spoons from in the drawer. I usually have everything out. This time I didn't, so it's the bigger. There you go, thank you. He's also my video recorder. Okay, so this is a tablespoon, which is the size of 3 teaspoons. So I'm going to fill that up probably 3 times. So that'd be 9 teaspoons or 3 tablespoons. That's pretty full. I like it pretty dark. And go ahead and mix that. You get little lumps, just break them up on the sides. See, that's like a little lump there. Just break it up on the side of the wall. And that's perfect coloring, actually. I don't need to add any more color to that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some seasonings to it real quick. And I got my old standby favorites that I use for everything I cook with. I got wild oregano, which I just sprinkle a little bit on top, about a teaspoon. You don't want too much oregano because it really changes the flavor. I sprinkle a little bit of pepper. Let me open the other side. Across the top. Some garlic salt. And cover the top. I like a little bit more garlic salt. Okay. You can put real onions in this if you want diced onions. This is parsley. Let's sprinkle a little bit of parsley. And then I'm going to use onion flakes because real onion makes me sick to my stomach. So I like onion flakes. So I sprinkle that on there. Okay. See, can you see how pretty that looks? And yeah. Go ahead and stir that in there. Pretty soon we'll add some salt after we add the gravy, because then you'll know how much flavor you need to add. I'm going to go ahead and put this to boil on a 7. That's kind of a medium high. And then I'll get back to you when I make the gravy. Okay, I'm using an old aluminum pan, or whatever this is, metal of some kind. It's got a stain at the bottom and everything. You don't want to use Teflon pans, because you're not going to get the same burn. You know, Teflon's meant not to burn. So I got a cup of oil. You can use vegetable oil, canola oil, whatever you like. I got a cup here. And I'm going to use a cup of flour. Maybe a cup and a quarter. And you mix that until it's a paste. This is how you make your gravy for any chilies. You've seen me do it before for tamales and stuff. So you get like a certain consistency to it. It's probably just about right too. Okay, so what you're going to do here is, I got it on high because I don't have a lot of patience, and I stand here and stir it the whole time. So what I do is I put it on a high temperature and you just let it cook for a little while. And then as it burns, you keep stirring it until you get this to the color that you want. Lighter colors are for like light gravies. And then the darker you go is for different types of foods. And I go kind of a medium brown. Not real dark, because that ruins it. And too light ruins it too. So we're going to go ahead and let this get hot. Okay, you got to watch this really closely, especially as it gets going hotter and hotter, because it will burn. It burns fast. So what you do is you let it burn. Well, you do want it to burn, because that's where you get your color from. So you kind of burn in flour with oil is what you're doing. So let it get hot, and then so you can see the bottom. See that in there? You kind of scrape it, spread it around, and that's where you get your color. But you don't leave it there till it's really burnt, because then you'll ruin it. So that's why you constantly have to stir it. Okay, I'm going to let it sit a few seconds. And this takes about 5 to 10 minutes to get to this point. So you got to be really patient. This is the longest thing. And I've got it on high. See how it's starting to really turn a different color now? Oops, I'm not getting in there. And you know, it smells burnt too. So you smell a lot of burnt in the house. Okay, that's almost the color I like. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. So you can see it's a different color from flour. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take it off the burner and put it in my sink. So I'm done for now. Okay, my potatoes are done. I boiled them, and the hamburger, see, it's all mixed in there. I'm going to add a little bit more garlic salt, because the first time I didn't add enough, I was out. So wait, let me move this over. I like a lot of garlic in there. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my gravy to this that I made. This got a little darker than I like, but I'm still going to go ahead and use it anyway. And I do about 2 or 3 ladles full. See, when you add it to your soup, it gets, it's boiling, so got to be careful. And this is what's going to thicken up your gravy. I didn't quite thicken it up, so I have to add another one. I don't like it this dark. Okay, here's another one. And I'm trying to get it to a certain thickness. Get this one out of my way. It's a pretty good thickness. I'm going to add just a pinch more. always add too much. Okay. So that's about another half a ladle. And the seasonings I have is never quite enough as far as salt goes, because once you add the gravy in here, it changes the whole flavoring, and it seems like you have less flavorings in there. So what I do is I go ahead and add a little bit of salt across the top, just a little bit. And that just gives it just about the right flavoring. And that's all there is to it. And there's your red chili. Get your potatoes, your hamburger, and your red chili. And I'm going to go ahead and serve a ladle full so you can see how pretty it is in the bowl. My coffee pot out of the way. Go ahead and, oops, so you have to spill it all the way over there, sure. Okay. There's another one. And just a bit more because it's my favorite. And then you want to eat it with crackers. I have a little cracker in there. That's delicious. It's perfect for this kind of weather too. And you can have crackers with it, and it's a perfect soup. Chili soup. That's it.